Ali, is the power back
Yes.
up at the jail?
I have not heard. I didn't know it was out. Oh my word.
We're not doing felony. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Holly,
Yes.
somebody's cell phone to do felony first appearance. So I don't know what's going to happen with us.
Ooh.
Oh, we were told that the power was out at the jail.
Yeah, it's out. It's still out.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to begin with.
Hold on, Judge. We ain't got no inmates. The power out at the jail. Okay.
No, I know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we're just going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar for today, July 21st. And I don't know who this Tyrone is, but can he please start his video because I don't need to look at a picture of a shoe. All right. Okay, folks, just to get over some technical details. Yes, the internet, they have an issue with the internet at the Fulton County Jail. Captain Dooley, I believe, is going to try to have the Zoom appear on her smart device or smartphone. So that's how we're going to be doing it instead of the desktop at the jail. In the meantime, do we have any inmates at any other location besides the courtroom at the jail? Any folks at ACDC, South Annex? No? Okay. Do we have any folks on the calendar who are in which counsel is going to waive appearance?
I do not.
All right, Ms. Kim?
No, I don't have anyone, but I do have a request for a breakout room for MH issues for 3 individuals.
Yeah, that's going to be challenging, Ms. Kim. Ms. Wills, have you had a chance to speak to some of your clients at the jail?
I've spoken with all of my clients. The power went out after.
Okay. And how did you speak with them? Phone or Zoom?
By phone.
By phone. And Ms. Kim, did you get a chance to speak with anyone else besides the 3?
Yes, I spoke all my clients and all of them by phone, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm just waiting on Captain Dooley to come in on her phone.
Your Honor, while we're waiting, I can go ahead and give you the reset date for the SAP calendar, which
Appreciate
is going to be August the 3rd.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
While we are waiting, also jail court's iPhone's coming on. Defense counsel, when you speak to your clients, please let them know that when I reset the case to the next court date, and if they bond out, either on a signature bond or a surety bond or a cash bond, prior to the SAP date, there is a very high likelihood that we will not be holding SAP in person in courtroom G33, but it would be by Zoom. So they would need to go to the clerk's office and get the Zoom link rather than come down in person in G33 and wait, because we've had quite a few folks yesterday who showed up not realizing that SAP is being done by Zoom as opposed to in person. Okay, Captain Dooley, no, that's not Captain Dooley. Okay,
That's Norris.
all right. Officer, good morning, good afternoon.
This is Officer Norris. How you
That's what I
doing,
thought.
Judge?
You don't look at Dooley today. Okay. All right, Officer Norris.
All right, if you guys are ready,
Yeah, I'm ready. How would you like to,
Judge Law.
okay, how would you like to show the defendants?
He's actually gonna be here. I'm gonna put the phone down. We're on the iPhone, and this is gonna be position number 3, Mr. Collins, Bruce Collins.
Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we normally do this with seamlessly, as we've always had perfect SEA calendars. But because it's an iPhone, there may be bandwidth issues. So once we have the defendant on screen, I may ask for the video to be switched off in order to let the audio go through. Okay? Does the defense counsel have any objections to that?
No objection.
Ms. McLeod, Ms. Kim?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Any objections from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to move on with position number 3. This is Bruce Collins, the gentleman in the white T-shirt with the lettering on it. Mr. Bruce Collins, my name is Judge Law. Your case number is 23 CR 4523F. You are charged with simple battery from July 20th, 2023. Mr. Collins, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say during the course of your proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you today is going to be Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, is this one of the cases you need a breakout?
Yes, one
Oh.
of 3 cases that I need breakout. I
Give
need
me
to-
the 3 names. Collins,
and threats, and one more is Glover, Your Honor.
Glover. Okay.
Yes.
Officer Norris.
Yes, Judge.
All right. Defense counsel needs to speak to these 3 individuals separately before we can do their first appearance. It's going to be Collins, Glover, and Threat.
You said that the defense counsel needs to speak to them?
I
Yes.
think she was asking for a
I
separate
already
breakout with the
spoke to them,
court.
Your
Oh,
Honor.
you need a breakout with the court. I'm
Yes, Your Honor.
misunderstand. Okay, thank
No
you.
problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so let's do the breakout. Mr. Jordan, I'm not sure who's doing the hosting. Miss Grace. Miss Grace, could you put Miss Kim, Miss Talerian, and myself in a breakout with Miss Holly
And can I be included as well, Your Honor?
and Mr. Ian Walker too, please?
Thank
If
you.
y'all want to be in the breakout, please start your video. That way I can sound you out, okay? Thank you. And folks, because of the bandwidth, that we need to be as efficient as possible because of the power issues, all right? As soon as I get into a breakout. Mr. Collins, we'll be with you shortly.
And I'm sorry, did the court ask pre-trial to come into the breakout with us?
No, I don't have
I've
to come.
got the pretrial report. Miss All right, we are back with Mr. Bruce Collins. Mr. Collins, we've had a discussion with your attorney and the prosecutor. Your bond is going to be set at $2,500. That's a surety bond. No contact with Anna Parker. Stay away from the location in question. And your next court date is going to be August 3rd at 9 a.m. Thank you. Officer Norris, may we have anyone but threats and Glover for now?
Okay, all right. So I'll get, okay, you can go. Go back inside. Sit at the third row. We're gonna go to position number 4, Mr. Daly.
Okay,
Mr. Daly.
so what they're doing is that they have multiple folks in the courtroom, and so they have set up the iPhone in the hallway so they can address it one-on-one for efficiency and security purposes, okay?
Yeah.
All right, this is Timon Nicholas Daly, case number 23 CR 004519H. Can you hear
Yes,
me,
ma'am.
sir? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right, Mr. Daly, you need to step back a little bit because all I see is hair. Thank you. All right, perfect. And Mr. Daly, you have been cited for a one charge of cruelty to animals from July 19th, 2023. Your case number is 23 CR 4519H. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say to us during this recorded proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is going to be Ms. Wills. Mr.
Your Honor, Your Honor, this case is actually a conflict, and I submitted a conflict around noon today. Mr. Daly is the named victim for someone that I previously represented not too long ago.
All right, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I do not represent him. I only had one conflict. That was my understanding.
All right, I'm going to appoint you to represent him, and you will need to speak with him. Would you be able to call the jail courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
All right, thank you. Mr. Daly, I'm going to have to change.
Your Honor, we have no phone.
Oh, you
We
have
have no phone for her to call.
no phone.
Our
Okay.
phones. Exactly. So we're gonna put this to the back of the calendar for now.
All right, thank
That
you.
would be fine.
And then we'll have to do a breakout. Okay.
Go to the back row.
When it rains, it pours, and this is definitely. All right, who do we have, please?
This is gonna be position number 6, Mr. Rawls.
All right,
Hello.
Brandon Rawls. Who represents Brandon Rawls?
I do, Your Honor.
No problems, right?
No
I'm
issue.
going to start from the beginning. All right. Brandon Rawls has got a case 23 CR 4517E, accused of battery domestic violence from July 19, 2023. Mr. Rawls, my name is Judge Lal, and I want to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during this recorded proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Kelly Wills. And Mr. Howard?
First.
Okay. And Mr. Jones, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. So this incident took place on July 19th, 2023, where officers were dispatched to 394 McDonald Boulevard to a dispute call. Upon arrival, officers met with Ms. Lauren Ross, who stated that she had just gotten to a fight with her husband, the accused, Mr. Brandon Ross. She stated that the accused arranged to meet up at his home to discuss divorce arrangements. Things got heated, and the defendant snatched her phone out of her hand and proceeded to look through it. The victim, attempting to regain control of her property, the accused then strong-armed her and pushed her into the side of the home. Filled with anger, he then busted her lower lip by striking her with his left elbow.
What do you recommend for bond? I'm so sorry, but I've already read that portion already.
Yes, Your Honor. So we had an opportunity to speak with our victim, and she did inform us that she is afraid of this defendant, and that she does not want any physical contact with her. She did believe that at the time when the defendant got in the car, he was going to run her over. And the defendant also fled the location after the incident took place, which also makes him a threat, Your Honor. Therefore, the state's recommendation is going to be a $3,500 surety bond and no further contact with Ms. Lauren Rawls. She is open for a third party transfer, and she has asked for a one-time law enforcement escort for him to come and get his items out of the house.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we would like to sign for the victim. She is on.
I was just about to. I do see Miss Lauren Rawls on the Zoom. Miss Rawls, my name is Judge Law. If you would like to contribute to this hearing, you need to start your video and unmute your Zoom. All right. Miss Rawls, you will need to remove your hat. You're in a courtroom. Thank you. All right. Would you like to add to these proceedings, or you can choose to remain silent?
My only other concern.
Then you will need to be placed under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm? Please raise your right hand. Swear and affirm that the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes.
All right. So you are open to the third party transfer of, so a third party would have to step in to pick up your child or children and have visitation with Mr. Rawls. You're open to that idea?
Yes.
And who would you be selecting as a third party?
We have someone that lives in our unit upstairs. His name is DJ.
Is that all you know about this person?
What do you mean? Is that all that I know? He's our trustee, our family trustee.
Okay, DJ what? What's the name?
Asante.
Full name again, please.
DJ
All right.
Asante. ASANTE.
TE. Okay, just wanted to be sure who this person is. Are you comfortable with Mr. Rawls being in your home?
No.
All right, that's good for me. Thank you. Miss Wills?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 35 years old. As it was stated, this is his first arrest. He has relocated and is no longer living in the marital home. He and Ms. Rawls are going through a divorce, and they were in the process of working that out, the logistics of their separation prior to this incident occurring. My client does deny making any physical contact with my client. With Ms. Rawls purposefully or intentionally. He did take her phone, which revealed that she was there was some infidelity. She, in her attempt to take the phone back, she struck my client several times and he suffered multiple injuries. He left the scene because it had escalated to a point where he was uncomfortable and had been physically attacked. He did not flee the scene. I did not hear any evidence of any risk of reoffense necessarily, or intimidation. My client has a vested interest in seeing his 3 children who are 10, 7, and 4. And so we have no objection to him staying away from the home at this time or not having contact with Ms. Rawls at this time. But I would request a signature bond, given that this is my client's first arrest. It was noted that Ms. Rawls suffered a busted lip. I didn't see any evidence of that. And this incident just occurred recently. So for all of those reasons, I think a signature bond is appropriate in this case.
Bond is set at $7,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Rawls, is a rather high bond amount, but right now it's a signature bond. You will be required to report to pretrial services once a month. If you get arrested again for anything else, that signature bond will be revoked and converted to a surety bond or a cash bond. While you are out on a signature bond, you are to attend and complete a 6-month or a 24-week domestic violence program. You must show proof that you have enrolled in such a program within 60 days of being released on your bond. You are to provide us with you are not to return to the address at 394 McDonough Boulevard in Southeast Atlanta, and you're to have no contact with Miss Lauren Rawls. That's Lauren. I understand that you both share about 3 children together. So any visitation will have to be done through a third party. And right now it appears to be a Mr. DJ Asante who would facilitate the pickup and drop off of the children in question based upon a schedule that has to be mutually arranged with Mrs. Rawls, but only through Mr. Asante. Do you understand, sir? All right. No consumption of alcohol, no illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to own or possess a firearm or weapon. Ms. Rawls, if you are in further concern about your safety, you can also file a petition for a TPO with the Superior Court of Fulton County, and that would just be a double protection.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you. His next court date is going to be set to his new address, so he needs to update the court with his new address within 30 days.
That's per judge.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I told you that. Next, Your Honor, we're gonna have position number 1, Mr. Arctic Allen, position number 1.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Mr. Arctic Allen is case 23 CR 4507C, accused of criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and willful obstruction of an attorney, willful of an officer, excuse me. It's been a long day. Okay, next court, the incident date is July 19th, 2023. Mr. Allen, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during the course of this recorded proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you presently is going to be Miss Kelly Wills. All right. I understand from pre-trial that this is Mr. Allen's 15th arrest.
Correct.
And okay, then I'll let you go through the rest of his convictions.
2021 was the last arrest out of DeKalb County for 2 counts of theft by taking. That's open. He got an open enter and auto as well. Criminal damage to property, trespass. In Fulton, he got ag assault, simple battery, theft by taking. 22 CP 211576. Cobb County got an open battery and riot. 2022 probation and 2014 probation.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, yes, sir.
This is my case. Law enforcement was dispatched to the Chase Bank located at 2900 Peachtree Road. They spoke to the bank manager there, who advised that the defendant entered into the location, asked the first teller to withdraw $100,000 from his account. He refused to show ID. He then proceeded to walk to the other tellers, requesting to withdraw $400,000, yet again refusing to show ID. At that time, the manager did try to assist him. The defendant did become irate and belligerent and caused a scene in the bank. The manager asked the defendant to leave, which he did, only for him to try to return with something in his hand. The manager was able to barricade the door, preventing the defendant from coming back in. Law enforcement did arrive to the scene. He did give chase and did resist arrest. There currently is a $1,000 surety on the criminal trespass, a $1,000 on the disorderly conduct, and a $1,500 on the obstruction. Based on the defendant's lengthy criminal history and open felony cases, we would be asking that this bond remain as set and to stay away from that Chase Bank location, 2900 Peachtree Road.
Thank you. Ms. Wills?
My client is 28 years old. He is a native of the Atlanta area. He is currently unemployed and will qualify to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. He has 1 child who is a 6-year-old daughter, excuse me. He is unable to afford any bond at this time. Any bond other than a signature bond would be unaffordable for my client. So I would request a signature on bond. I did speak with him about his address and did confirm that he does have an address and a home in Lithonia. So housing is not an issue. And a social worker has been out to visit him, and no issues have been identified at this time. So for all of those reasons, I would request a signature bond. And if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that his $3,500 bond be reduced.
His bond is going to be $2,500 on each count. That's going to be a total of a $7,500 surety bond. He is to stay away from the Chase Bank at 2900 Peachtree Road in Atlanta, Georgia. He's actually to stay away from all Chase banks in the Metro Atlanta area. He is to also have no contact with any staff member from the Chase Bank at 2900 Peachtree Road. His next court date is August 3rd, 2023, and no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you. Next case, please.
You didn't get Next, we have position number 9, Mr. James Wallace.
All right. Is this Mr. James Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
Case number 23 CR 4515E. Mr. Wallace is accused of simple assault from July 8th, 2023. Mr. Wallace, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is going to be Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard?
70 total. Last was 2020 probation, 2019 trespass conviction, another 2019 trespass, thereby taking conviction.
That's good. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. So as Your Honor is aware, the defendant has 70 past cycles that include those convictions. There's also a simple assault conviction from 2015, a probation violation from 2015, a FTA, and a terroristic threat conviction. On this particular day, police officers were approached by the victim, Mr. Justin Yang, who stated that the defendant on 7/8 was using racial slurs while following him around, yelling and spitting in his face. Officers ran the CCTV footage, which shows the defendant using an enormous amount of curse words, Your Honor, threats, none of which was warranted. He even threatened to kill and said that he would go to jail for beating his cuss word, Your Honor. The victim stated that he does not know the defendant and has never seen or spoken to him before. The victim did confirm the events in the warrant. The victim stated that this incident has deterred him from wanting to use the MARTYR train ever again, and said that he does not plan to use the train unless it is absolutely necessary. If at the appropriate time, Your Honor, could sound for the victim. Therefore, the state's bond recommendation is going to be a $2,500 surety bond. Stay away from all MARTYR stations, and no further contact with the victim, Mr. Justin Yang. I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Yang, Mr. Justin Yang. All right, all right. I see someone who tried to appear. All right, Ms. Kim, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Wallace, is 59 years old, and he's currently residing with his grandmother, who is 74 years, Your Honor. He has not been able to get any employment for the last 2 years. Because of that, he's qualified for public defender services, Your Honor. He does not have any disability, no medical problem. He claims that he does not have any other drug or alcohol issues. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we ask for $1,000 maximum good bond, and that's about it. He has no objection to stay away and no further contact with Mr. Justin Yang. Thanks.
All right. Bond is going to be set at 3,000 surety bond. Next court date is August 3rd. He is to stay away from all MARTYR property, buses and train stations and so forth, and have no contact with Justin Yang. Mr. Yang has still not chimed in. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, huh? Next, Your Honor, we have position number 10, Ms. Tanya Wilkes.
Okay. This is State versus Tonya Yvette Wilkes, accused of theft by taking from January 18th, 2023. Ms. Wilkes, case number is 23 CR 4516Y. Ms. Wilkes, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you presently is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard?
This is her 8th arrest. Last was 2020. Well, she got a 2023 parole violation, 2020 parole DUI, and that come from a 1984 capital offense.
All right. Okay, this is, sorry, Ms. Hutter, yes, I know, this is very distracting. I have a gentleman who is inappropriately dressed with a cap and a sleeveless singlet. All right, good. That would be fine. That would be fine. And please don't move the phone around. Put on a jacket or something. I still haven't accepted the fact that court is a picnic grounds. Okay, Ms. Hudak, I do beg your pardon. Could you please tell me your recommendation for bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I would also say, in addition to the conviction for capital offense, there was also an arson third degree conviction in 1983. We're recommending a $25 surety bond. As Mr. Howard noted, that she does have an FTA from state court in Habersham County for missing a 4/28/2023 court date. The facts of the case, if Your Honor would indulge me.
Okay.
Officers responded at the above location on January 18th of 2023. This is a business. Officers spoke to Ms. Bain, Bayne, who reported her backpack with numerous personal items was missing from the break room. Officers were able to interview a coworker who stated they saw Ms. Wilkes with the backpack owned by Ms. Bain on her back, walking towards Fulton Industrial Boulevard. He attempted to stop her, but she continued on. We would ask for a stay away order too from Ms. Bain and the business located at 300 Fisk Drive.
Yeah, I think council meant 2,500.
I beg your pardon?
I think council meant 2,500.
Oh, I did. I apologize. 2,500.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Wickes, is 60 years old, and Your Honor, this happened almost about 6 months ago. She returned all the items, and she wants to know if she can get a signature on bond. For the last 4 months, she has been cutting the chickens to make a living, and because of her grandson, who is very supportive, his name is Bobby Hunt. She is really turning around, trying to stay above on top of the things and trying to make a living for him, to support him, and also to live. She only has up to 8th grade education. That's why only job that she could find was cutting chicken. It's extremely hard labor. We would like to request for signature on bond, and everything has been returned, and we would like to we are fine with no further contact and stay away. Thank you.
All right. You do realize she's got a hold from Habersham County as well for a state court matter. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Bond is presently set at $1,000 surety bond. It's a surety bond, and her next court date is going to be August 3rd, to have no contact with Kayla Bain and to stay away from CSK at the 300 Fisk, something like that, Drive. Yeah.
FISK.
FISK. Okay. In Atlanta. Fisk. Okay. Got it. Thank you. And if if Tonya Wilkes makes bond, unfortunately, she or he would still have to wait until Habersham County picks her up. Thank you. Next case, please. Did we lose the jail iPhone? No, jail.
Your Honor, I apologize. What was that on demand?
$1,000 surety bond to stay away from CSK and no contact with Kayla Bain.
Thank you. Next, can we go to position number 7, Mr. Steger, Elijah Steger?
Okay. And we'll just need their video on, please, if possible.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can see you now. Mr. Steger is right there. Okay. This is State versus Elijah Steger, 23 CR 4522G. Mr. Steger is accused of battery from July 20th, 2023. Mr. Steger, my name is Judge Law, and I'd like to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say during the course of these recorded proceedings, the statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to counsel, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Maureen McLeod. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Last arrest was in April, ready to appear out of Columbia County. on probation in Colombia for forgery in the 4th degree obstruction. Back in June, they gave him 12 months probation for that.
Is that the FDA case?
Could be. Sounds like it, but I didn't pull it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tellery?
This client currently has a $2,000 bond that was already set. We're asking that the bond remain the same, if not higher, if your honor is so inclined. We ask for no further contact with the victim, Joel Beck, Joelbelk. Stay away from the address listed on the report, 169 Old Holcomb Bridge Way, Roswell, Georgia. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. In this incident, as I'm sure your honor is aware, the defendant is alleged to have punched Mr. Belk in the face with a closed fist, and the officers observed substantial physical harm to the left side of Mr. Belk's face. And for those reasons, we're asking for the bond as previously advised.
Do we have a first name for Mr. Belk?
Yes, ma'am. It's I'm sorry, yes, your honor. It's Joel, Joel.
Joel Belk?
Yes, your honor.
Okay. If y'all on, okay, now I see it. I must have read the accusation too fast because I just saw it as Mr. Belk. Okay. All right. And Ms. McLeod, what's your position for a bond?
My position for bond, Your Honor, is a signature bond. My client has no significant history at all. And my understanding of the situation was that this person is someone that my client's sister, who he lives with, gave shelter to for a short period of time, and he stole from them. And he got aggressive with my client, and my client was simply defending himself, Your Honor. My understanding is that he left the location at the time of the incident as well.
Is his sister present to corroborate this?
I tried calling her, Your Honor, but I was unable to make contact with her.
Okay. Bond's going to be set at $1,000. It's a surety bond to have no contact with Joel Belk. And I'm not sure if that's the location where the incident took place. Yeah, it did. So he can return to 169 Old Holcomb Bridge Way as long as Mr. Joel Belk does not reside there.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay. But if he resides there, then he has to find an alternative place. Though hopefully Mr. Belk is not living there still, if that's the situation with the household.
Right, Your Honor. My understanding is that it's his older sister's apartment and he lives with her.
Who? Elijah or Joel?
My client lives with his older sister.
Okay.
The alleged victim, was just allowed to stay there for the past few weeks.
Well, we know what that may happens then. All right. So next court date is going to be August 3rd. As I said, it's $1,000 surety bond, August 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Mm-hmm.
can we be putting out with Ms. McLeod and Mr. Daly?
All right.
I'm available.
Yeah. Miss Grace, if you
call. Okay, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's all right. Miss Grace, if you
can't call.
If you could put the jail court iPhone and Miss McLeod in a breakout room.
And Your Honor, you could take the other two breakouts while we in the breakout.
Okay, okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah, not two birds out, one stone.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Miss Kim, you asked for a breakout for Mr. Threat and Mr. Glover.
Yes,
do you
Your Honor.
mind if we do the breakout first and then we will address Threat and Glover when we come back from the breakout?
Absolutely, that's fine with me. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, Miss Grace, that will be two separate breakout rooms, one for jail court iPhone and Miss McLeod. And the other one will be for myself, Miss Bridgewater, Miss Kim, Mr. Walker, Mr. Jones. And that's it.
Officer Norris,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, was he medically reset?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
My apologies.
All right, Ms. Wills, we're going to reset Robert Williams. How many times has he been reset? He's got position 11 and 12.
I believe
This is his first time.
first time on the calendar.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll reset him to tomorrow, which is Saturday. And if he still doesn't appear, then the next calendar is Monday. So y'all have to decide if you want to, if he appears tomorrow, great. Otherwise, you might want to consider a waiver of appearance. Okay, all right, that position 11 and 12 are reset to July 22nd at 2 p.m. And this is going to be a medical reset. There's no Riverside issue. All right, I think, all right, we're still waiting for jail court to go into a breakout with Ms. McLeod, and then Ms. Grace will put us in a breakout. Whoever needs to be on the breakout needs to have their video on so that Ms. Grace can
Miss Grace, can you add me to the breakout, please?
Miss Grace, is Miss McLeod still in the breakout with her client? Miss Melissa Grace, our host. Miss Bridgewater, are you co-hosting this Zoom? Oh, there she is. Miss Grace?
Let me see what's going on, Judge.
Mhm.
Is her mic? I'm told it's something going on with her mic. We're
Okay.
checking.
All right. Or she could put in the chat to me if she could just put in the chat or communicate in the chat to Miss McLeod that we are ready for their case.
I'll certainly let her know.
She's got the jail court iPhone.
Okay.
All right, while we're waiting for Miss McLeod, I'm just going to go over the calendar. Position number one, Arctic Ellen is going to be a 7,500 surety bond. Reset date is August 3rd. Position number two, we're still waiting to address that. Miss Kim or Miss Wills, do you represent Quintina Blanco?
She's another, she's been medically reset. This is the second time she's been reset. Mr. Howard is actually at the jail. Well, he was attempting to see her, but then the power went out, so he's been delayed entry.
Okay. Is he representing her or are you representing her right now for first appearance?
I will be, well, technically she was on my list, but he was just speaking to her since she was unable to be brought down. I was unable to interview her.
Okay. Well, let's see if we have to reset her tomorrow or whether we can address it today, okay?
Testing.
I'm sorry? Oh, that was Miss Grace. Oh, testing. Okay. Position three, Bruce Collins is a $2,500 surety bond reset to August 3rd. And Miss Kim, if y'all are seeking evaluation, you may need the 11 o'clock calendar. So that's what we're doing, the 11 o'clock competency calendar.
Yes.
Okay, so August 3rd, 11 a.m. competency calendar.
Yes.
Position four is going to be Timon Daly, and we are waiting on Miss McLeod for that. Position five, we're going to address that. We've already had the breakout for that case. Position six, Brandon Rawls, that's a 7,500 signature bond through pretrial. And that's going to be further notice. Position seven is $1,000 surety bond, reset date August 3rd at 9 a.m. Position eight, threat, we've had the breakout session with that, and we're going to address that shortly. Position nine is going to be a $3,000 surety bond, and that reset date's August 3rd. Mr. Walker or y'all want to reach out to Justin Yang and just let him know that's the status of the first appearance. Position 10, Wilkes is a $1,000 surety bond, reset dates August 3rd. 11 and 12 Williams are reset to July 22nd. This is a medical reset to 2 p.m. Miss Grace, any status on the conversation with Miss McLeod? Oh, they're the back. Okay.
Your Honor, just a brief reminder, Ms. Nichols is on. She was the victim in Ms. Threat. I'm sorry, in the George Threat case. If we can sound for her at the appropriate time.
We definitely will. Okay, right now we are addressing position number 4, Timon Daly, case number 234519H, charged with cruelty to animals from July 19, 2023. He has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his attorney is Miss Maureen McLeod. Is Miss McLeod back from the breakout?
Yes, Judge, she must be one out. I'm letting her back in now.
Okay, there she is. All right. All right, Miss McLeod, if you could please unmute. So, Mr. Daly, can you hear the court? All right, good. All right, so Mr. Daly, we're going to first hear from pretrial, Mr. Howard.
What's the rest of what I got?
All right. Mr. Jones, what is your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. So currently there is a preset bond amount on the cruelty to animals charge. Upon arrivals, officers made contact with the Fulton County Animal Control requesting help with taking dogs off of the premise due to Mr. Daly being irate with them the last time. Officers then looked for food, water, or shelter for the animals and found none. Shortly after, Mr. Daly arrived on the scene and stated that he gave them water before going to work at 5 a.m. And at this time, it was 10:14 p.m., Your Honor. And again, this is the second time that officers went to that location for this. So, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is going to be that the preset bond amount remain at the $7,500 surety bond and no animals while on bond, Your Honor.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. I'm sorry. He has never been arrested in his life, Your Honor. He tells me that he has approximately 12 dogs and he can only manage 2 at most. And he's tried to call the pound to ask for help in getting these dogs off his hand. And they keep telling him that they are full. He said he has tried his best. He hasn't really been working, but he has gotten a job and he spends a lot of his money just buying dog food to take care of these animals because he does love them, but he recognizes that he cannot manage all of these dogs. He did also tell me that when he went to work, he asked his girlfriend if she could go by to feed the dogs. He said he couldn't leave them in the house because he doesn't have air conditioning and it would have been too hot for them. So they were out in the yard and he had asked his girlfriend, and then his girlfriend called and told him that she had a problem with her car, and he asked someone else to go and check on the animals. Given the nature of what is alleged, Your Honor, and the fact that my client says he really is struggling to take care of these animals, I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. If it's a case that he can't have animals, he doesn't know what to do with the animals, Your Honor, and that is the problem.
All right. Bond's going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. First of all the animals, all the 12 dogs have to be surrendered to the Fulton County pond. Fulton County Animal Control Services are directed to retrieve all 12 dogs from the residents of 779 Humphrey Street in Southwest Atlanta. Mr. Daly is not to own or possess any pet animal ranging from a parakeet to a horse. So dogs and cats all fall within that range. He's not to possess any such pets until further order of the court. His next court date will be set to his address. And if he violates the conditions, if Fulton County Animal Control is called back to his location because of a pet-related issue, the Fulton County pretrial is authorized to revoke his signature bond, and he'll be back in jail on a surety bond. Thank you.
And Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. McLeod.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I got position number 5, Mr. Glover, for the.
All right, thank you. This is State versus Jeremiah Glover, case number 23 CR 45188. Mr. Glover, Ms. Kim, you have had a discussion with Mr. Glover and informed him of the charge?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Glover, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Kim represents you. We have had a sidebar discussion in your particular case. Your bond is going to be set at $1,000 surety bond. You are to have no further contact with Leslie Lumpkin, and your next court date is going to be August 3rd. Will that be the 11 a.m. calendar?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you're also to stay away from all Greyhound bus stations unless you have a specific ticket to travel, and then the only time you're allowed on the bus station is on the day of that travel. no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How much was that?
Yes, ma'am.
$1,000 surety, reset date August 3rd.
All right. Excuse me. Next, we're gonna have Mr. Threat. It's position number 8.
All right, sir. Mr. George Threat, my name is Judge Law. Can you hear me?
I do.
All right. Your case number is 23 CR 004521B. You've been accused of an offense. Ms. Kim, have you spoken to your client and informed him of the charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is for incident from July 18th, 2023. You have a right to remain silent about the facts of your case. Did I lose the jail court iPhone? Okay. Do we have any other cases we had to address besides Mr. Threat? I think that was it, right? Okay.
Your Honor, can you repeat that again?
Certainly, yeah. Okay. Mr. Threat knows the charge that's been brought against him. He has a right to remain silent. Anything he just chooses to say about the case, his statements can and will be used against him. He has appointed counsel who is going to be Ms. Kim with the Public Defender's Office. We've had a sidebar with the attorneys involved, and Mr. Threat's bond is going to be set at $3,000. That's a surety bond. He is to stay away from all MARTA property, including the stations, the buses, and the trains until further order of the court. He's to have no contact with Sarah Nichols, and he's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. Ms. Nichols, Sarah Nichols, I do see that you're on the Zoom. Do you have anything to add to this proceeding?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Officer Norris. That concludes Mr. Threat's case. We will see him on August 3rd at 11 a.m.
Thank you.
You know. And that's all we have.
All right, Officer Norris, I hope things get better pretty soon, especially for tomorrow.
Can I ask Officer Norris one question?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you know where Miss Blanco is located?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
Our social worker tried to visit with her, and she was unable to meet with her.
Yeah, because she's in medical. It's going to be a medical reset.
She's in medical. All right. Do you think Derek will be able to meet with her today? What's the power
Today? They're not letting anyone in jail right now.
Okay.
It's going to most likely have to be tomorrow.
Okay. He was told possibly 4, but I'll let him know. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me, Ms. Wills. So position number 2 is a medical reset to July 22nd at 2 p.m. All right, I think that concludes the calendar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good weekend.
You too, Ms. Bridgewater. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.